Hey guys, it's Maymay and it's time to address this side of our album. And you can see that I've just got this side closed down for now to stay out of our way. And I had a lot of thoughts about this side. I thought I might do a matchbook album or a matchbook style folder system over here and all this kind of stuff. And then I realized my pages are a little bit too bulky for all that. So I'm not going to add a lot of bulk here, but I do want some storage. Because I thought, what if I had some cards I really wanted to use but didn't know who to give them to? I need a place to stick them over here. So we're going to create a little slide file folder over here kind of thing. And maybe some pockets and stuff like that. But let's start with that little, it's more like a little folder. You'll see. We're going to do a little pocket folder. All right, here we go. The color of this is like virtually the very same as the folio. So I like that because it makes it look like it all came together. So there's a couple things we got to do first. We're going to do some scoring on this piece of paper. And it's a little bit interesting how we're going to do this. The first thing I want to do is I want to score at 2 1/4. Just a little mark for me to know. We put it in here portrait style and score at 2 1/4. Then I'm going to turn it. And I'm going to come down here and I'm going to score 2 inches up. So from 11, 10, I'm going to score at 9. Okay, that's the first thing I'm going to do. Now I'm going to use my trimmer in kind of a different way. And we'll see if I can get this where you guys can see it. I'm going to take those little score marks that I just made on my paper. And I'm going to put them into my trimmer at an angle. Now my trimmer has this guide that has this gap in it. And I'm going to use that to my advantage, okay? I'm going to line those score marks up with the part of the guide that does not cut. It's not where the cut will happen. So, let me find my little score mark. There's one up there. And one down here. Get it in there, right? Okay. So, this is where I measured to. But I'm going to cut over here, which is going to leave me this little tab piece, which I want. Because I don't want a raw edge on this folder. It's going to get a lot of use. So I want to be able to fold that piece back almost like a hem on this piece of paper. So I'm going to cut it here. And you'll see what I mean when I take this away. So see, I left myself this gap from my score marks. Now if you don't have one that works like this, just measure out. That's about 1/4 of an inch, maybe 3/8 of an inch, and give yourself that gap. Now before I release this, I want to score it. So I'm going to use this as my guide for scoring as well. And go ahead and get a good score mark there. Now when I bring this up, you'll see exactly what we did. Okay? So now we just go back to the scoreboard. Now it's pretty simple. We're going to score this guy, and I'm going to do it this way because I like to use the bigger part of the board where I can hold on to it. We're going to score it 1/2 inch in, so it'd be 8 here. But I'm really just scoring 1/2 inch in from the sides. Then I'm going to do the same thing on the base, on the bottom, so 1/2 inch in from the paper, which makes that 10 1/2. And then I want to score this little edge 1/2 inch in. So that's also at 8. Okay, so we are scored everywhere. Now to make a nice clean bend, there's a couple of little cuts I want to make. One is, do you see this section? It's kind of an odd section. If I try to fold that all together, it gets kind of bulky. So I'm just going to cut that away because I don't need it. Okay. And you know how when you're sewing, you're making a hem, you kind of do the mitered corners? I'm going to miter these edges here because I want them to be nice and neat. This edge and this edge. So I'm going to lay this so you can see what we've got. Looks very odd, doesn't it? But it's going to make sense in a second. Alright, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take this edge piece that I did, which is like our little hem piece we talked about. I feel like I'm sewing today. And I'm going to score, or actually burnish this in place, nice and snug. Okay. And I'm going to take some score tape and run this all the way down this edge because I want this to hold this in its folded state. Again, this is to give me stability on that edge, so when I'm putting things in and out of it, it'll last a good long time instead of just having a raw edge of a piece of paper. Okay, so I've exposed that, and now I'm just going to roll this over on itself. Just like that. Okay, so I have a nice, neat, clean, folded edge. Now these guys all get folded inward as well, but the adhesive goes in a different spot on these. I also want to point out that I am not scoring, I'm not burnishing these down. This is going to act as a pocket. So if it has a little give, that's really what I want. I'm going to get where I can put the adhesive, but other than that, we're not going to really press that in place. This adhesive goes on the outside of the flap we made here, not the inside, because we're going to stick this to the book, not to itself. Okay, and then this little flap as well. By mitering those edges, we take so much bulk out of the corners. I want to show you up close. See this edge? Look how much bulk is gone. If I had all that still in there, it'd be so nasty, so bulky. All right, so let's put this in the book. So I have my folio here. Release these backer pieces, just like so. Now, I'm going to place this at the bottom first, so I know I have that where I want it. Nice and even and straight. I think I'm going to place this little side down, so I can use both hands over here. And just sort of press that and let the fold do its work. And see, by not creasing that, I have this lip, or this lift, and that's really what I want. I don't want it to be so snug I can't get anything in there. But now, I'll be able to use this as a card storage pocket. So when I have a card that I made that I just love and really want to make sure I find somebody to give it to, I can stick it over here till the birthday comes up to put it over here. Okay, so there is that. Now I want to put some pretty here. And notice I didn't put anything back here. I think I really like this natural color, and once I put color here, I want that to kind of have the, I like the difference. Let me show you why. You can so put paper here. Don't think you can't. But see how I have paper here and natural? I'm going to put paper here and natural. I'm going to try to keep some of that natural color because I really like it. If you know me, you know I'm a craft paper fan. So there you go. So I've been looking at this for a minute, and in an effort to save paper, I'm going to try something. Because my paper pack did not come with, it only came with 12 sheets, and I'm really trying to save those big pieces for the front. I'm going to do something different here. And this is exactly how you guys can do this. If you come up with an idea and you want to try it, just try it. What can it hurt, right? So this is a piece of typing paper. I'm going to stick this inside of here, like so. Okay. So that protects all of that surface. We're going to play with stamps. This is some masking tape. And what I'm going to do with this, because it's really sticky, is I'm going to put it on my pants leg like 2 or 3 times to get some of the lint up. Can you hear me doing that? Then it won't be so sticky that it'll tear anything when I release it. I'm just going to put that down beside there. If you ever have an idea after the fact, go with it. You know, I could have stamped this before, but I wasn't thinking forward. Okay, so now I'm all protected, and I want to stamp on this piece of paper here. So one of the colors that I love in this paper pack is the navy color. And I have this Paris Dusk from Memento and this rose stamp. And I don't know if you noticed, but there was a sheet of paper in here that had the roses on it. I turned it over and didn't use that side. But I thought it'd be neat to kind of bring that back since that was already kind of in the collection. And this navy ink is so pretty. Now it's probably going to look black on camera, but that's alright. And now I'm just going to come up here and just stamp. Press really good. Look how pretty. That navy is so pretty on here. I don't know, I'm really liking navy. It's probably not the season for it either, because isn't navy a springtime thing? I don't know. Now I'm just going to kind of alternate, just kind of randomly stamping this rose. It's very pretty. I have to thank my friend Taylor for this stamp. This is one she bought for a card party and left it, and I love it. Okay, so I have all of those done, and while I was doing it, of course I had another idea, right? I'm going to keep using this navy ink, and I'm going to take a pencil eraser. I'm going to turn this one around because I've used it. I'm going to pull this out and flip it around to get the flat side because the other side hasn't been used. And I don't know if you noticed, but there's polka dots in this paper too. And using this pencil eraser, I'm going to ink it up. and polka dot this to match. Just to kind of tie it all together. I also love roses with polka dots. I'm not a big rose fan, but I love to see them with a polka dot background. Okay, gonna stop because I'll go overboard. Alright, let's reveal it. Let's take all this goodie off. And there it is. I love it. Do you like it? I hope so. This way, I'm not wasting paper from my paper collection, but it's kind of going to, you know, tie in. I've got the flowers and the polka dots. Now then, let's talk about these guys. Okay, I was thinking maybe a pocket or either like even a photo flap if I wanted to put some photos in. I kind of like the photo flap idea because I don't have a place for pictures here, and it still would be nice in my organizer to be able to put pictures of the kids or something in there. So I think I'm going to make photo flaps. So the first thing I'm going to do is just mat these areas. I'm going to do that by cutting a 4 3/8 piece by 7 7/8. So 4 3/8 by 7 7/8 twice for these flaps. Alright, so I have my pieces. I'm going to do the corner rounding to match where the rounds are on these flaps. And I thought I would bring out that flower in polka dot paper. See how it's got the little polka dots on it too? They're really little, like, buds. I thought that would help to tie that rose in. So I'm going to put that one there. And this paper is not from the collection. But again, I'm trying to hoard the collection for decorating. So I'm going to put this one here. Alright, so I've got those down. Now the cool thing about these is they're big enough to hold a 4x6 picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make photo mats to fit that. So I want my photo mat, because I want a little bit of an edge, I want my photo mat to be 4 1/4 by 6 1/4. And that way, when I put my 4x6 picture, it'll have an automatic mat to it. So I'm going to do that with craft cardstock. Now because 4 1/4 and 4 1/4 is 8 1/2, I already have my height. I just need to cut this page down to 6 1/4. And I'll need 2 pieces this size. So I have my pieces, and now I'm going to score them in half at 4 1/4. And I'm going to round the bottom corners like we have been doing. I think that'll look good. So I'm going to use my 1/2 inch again in my corner chomper. Just round these bottom edges. Whoops. Alright, so there are those guys. Let's bring the book back over. Let's open everything up. So I'm going to be putting these here. Okay, so these will be my photo mats for this area. So that one will go that way, and this one will go this way. And before I put this down, I want to decide my closure on them. Because it's kind of snug up here, but I do want some 4x6 photos to fit. So I think I'm going to put ribbon behind them and tie it to close it. That'd be cute, huh? Let's do that. So I have this dainty sheer polka dot ribbon I have been wanting to use for the longest time. So I'm going to use this. I'm going to put it in place first and decide how long I want it. Let's see. It needs to be enough to tie a bow. And that should do it. So here, because I'm covering this up, I'm going to use some cheater method. I'm actually going to just scotch tape this into place. You're not going to see it. Are you screaming at me right now? Don't do that. You guys know me. None of this is going to show. It's just there for utilitarian purposes. I am using a lot of tape. You could glue it. Wait on it to dry and all that. That's perfectly fine. But that's how I'm going to do it. So there's our ribbon in place. Now I'm going to put this guy down, and I'm going to use some of that that really sticky adhesive that I have that's really wide, just to save time, because I'm going to use a lot of adhesive on the back of this. Because again, this piece is going to get some lifting. Okay, so we'll seal this down, and in doing this, it's going to seal that ribbon too. Cool beans, y'all. See? Now I think I'm going to make some little mats for this that will be 1/8 of an inch smaller. So then when I put pictures, I'll have this edge showing, my little mat showing, and then the picture. It'll be a tiny little edge, but I think it'll be pretty. So see, these are going to be just enough. And when we put a 4x6 picture in there, it's going to be perfect. So I'm going to put these down. I'm just going to use my ATG for these sides. This is also where I'm going to utilize some of that paper that is similar in color but does not match, because like I said, I'm so trying to hoard those big pieces for the outside. Now, should you decide not to put pictures here, that would be fine too. You could put anything you wanted there. If you're wondering what paper I borrowed some from to make this work, this is a Bo Bunny collection called Somewhere in Time. I'm pretty sure that's the name of it. Some of it could be mixed together with other things, but I think that's what it is. I love this navy paper. Now let's tie the bows. And I probably have way too much ribbon, so I'll trim some off, but I wanted to make sure I had enough. This piece I haven't even cut away yet. I just kind of measured one side of it. If you're giving this to somebody for a gift, I want to give you a tip. We are pretty good at tying bows, us crafters. But if you give this to somebody that's never tied a bow, give them plenty of ribbon. So that way, if they have to tie it kind of big and loopy, they're not struggling with little tiny pieces of ribbon trying to get it done. And I know that's plenty to tie later, because that's a bunch. Alright, so there's those guys. Looking good, huh? We're getting there, we're getting there. Okay, now let's go back over here to this side. I'm going to do something here pocket-wise, but I have an idea. So this is one of the pieces from the paper pack. It comes on a big 12x12 with a lot of these little tags. And I thought this would be super cute to make a pocket for this little corner. And I'm going to round the edges to make this fit slightly better. So just using that same 1/2 inch again. I may not have to, let me see what it looks like if I just do 2 of them. Oh, I like that because that's kind of the theme of the book, is just a couple around it and not all rounded. So I'm going to use this for a pocket. Yep, that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to hear it down on these sides, like so it can be a pocket like that. And I'm going to use, this is my art glitter glue. I'm going to use it because it dries quick and I can get a very fine line. And it dries very, very sturdy. That way I have a lot of room for putting stuff in. Okay guys, so I think for this video I'm going to call it, and we will move on to the next video where we'll start working on, we have all of this done on the inside that I wanted to do, and then we can start working on the cover, and then we can start doing some embellishments, okay? And I do have a couple of things we're going to do here to make this more of a card organizer, so when we get back together we will talk about that as well. Alright guys, so I hope you have a great one, and I will see you in the next video. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.